Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I want to share a couple of hadiths, excuse me. So I was reminded of a hadith, man. It was earlier today. Well, yesterday. It's after midnight. Salafi sister, man. Salafi sister from Philly, right? She had made a post on social media. She go to Germantown, right? And she said, and this is deep. This is very deep, man. She said, in 2025, 96% of the Muslims walk right past each other like they don't see each other. And then she said, what is going on? So people started coming in the comments saying it's been like that for years, and and this is her being out and about paying attention because it's Ramadan. So it's like, whoa, like this, it's Ramadan, and 96% of the Muslims, we just walking past each other like we don't know each other. So it reminded me of a hadith, right? But the even sadder thing is some of the root cause of those issues is what masjid you go to, who you listen to, where's Allah, those type of things. So it ain't got that bad, man, where Muslims really not salaming each other. And that is, like, some of the people in the statements, and like I'm talking about, she Philly, born and raised, been there her whole life, right? Salafi. And, due to some of the Salafi masjid splitting, some people that you was cool with, and, but anyway, it reminded me of a hadith, and where you can start to see this hadith coming into fruition. But I'm going to start with the Quran ayat. So Allah Azza wa Jal informs us in the Quran, whenever you are greeted with a greeting, right, return that greeting, or one better than that, better than what you was greeted with. So then a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Abdullah ibn Amr reported, a man asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which Islam is the best, right? The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, to feed the hungry, the poor people, and to give the salams to the people that you know and the people that you don't know. So there's more hadiths on how spreading the salams, more than just with the tongue, how it brings a peace and tranquility with the brotherhood, right? So you can see where these violations is starting to come in amongst the Muslims, right? So then you have another hadith, and this is the one that it reminded me of, because I definitely wanted to speak on the giving of salams and returning them, right? So Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, may Allah be pleased with him, has mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily before the final hour, people will only greet those that they know. They only gonna give salams to people that they know, or people that they feel like they cool with, people that they clicked up with. Individuals they feel they have close ties with, right? And then it says business will become widespread, or people chasing money, and the way times is going to get, that it's going to get to the point where the wives are going to have to begin to assist the husbands in amassing wealth. Okay? The wives is going to have to start going out there and chase paper too. So you starting to see now with the lives that people want to live and that they're chasing, it take two people. It take two people. You have a small percentage of people that live that life comfortably with no worries, right? But some of the Muslims, and not even the majority of people don't live that way comfortably, right? So, like I said, a time is going to come where people are only going to salam, the Muslims only going to salam the Muslims that they cool with. That's in their inner circle. That's part of their clique. Because they might know you, but if they not cool with you, they won't salam you, even if you salam them first. That's how the time is going to get. And to keep up lifestyles and to live a certain type of way, the Muslim women gonna have to get out there and help their husbands chase paper. Whatever it looked like, wherever they had to work, wherever they had to go. So with them chasing paper, it's gonna involve what? Them spending some of that money on keeping up their lifestyle. That's how difficult it's gonna get. But it's gonna be so much money out there. The wives gonna have to help the men, have to help the husbands get out there and get that paper to keep up these lifestyles that people want. But look what else it says. Then families will begin to cut off ties. Right? This gonna be parent and child, brothers and sisters, cousins, aunties, which this stuff is already happening, right? And then people will begin to give false testimonies. Like a prime example. You and somebody, they may ask you for help with something in the deen, memorizing some surahs or something. But you arrange some time, or you meet them somewhere, and they just have all these excuses for, well, I got to do this. I don't want to use the word excuses. They busy. So then you be like, okay, cool, alhamdulillah. That's you, but you done made the time for them. But then every time you see them, they'd still be like, hey, I'm working on that surah. I'm going to call you. I'm going to recite it to you. But they could recite it like why you right there with them. I'm going to get with you, man. We need to carve out some time. You'd be like, okay, alhamdulillah. And then y'all go y'all separate way. 6 months down the line, you see them again. They just walk up to you and give you false testimony, even though you didn't even ask for it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, amongst all the other lying, but these are some of these other examples. And then those bearing the truth will begin to conceal it. Subhanallah Azim. So it's like, pardon me, Dr. King. So sometimes when you know certain things about the deen, you don't even tell people. You don't even try to put them on, because it won't even do no good. It just gets you to the point where you just like, man, it ain't even gonna do no good to talk to them. it's going to get to even worse than that on the flip side, where you might have some people who know that another person's spouse is dealing with some other people, right? And then they know that you got a feeling that it's going that way, this male and female. And then they'll sit up there and know you feeling a certain way and trying to figure it out. And they already know that it's true, but they'll conceal it. You know? Yeah, you my guy, you my Muslim brother, alhamdulillah, but I ain't gonna tell you. We even tell our stuff like, and it's understandable. I ain't gonna be the one to tell them because they gonna get mad at me. It's gonna mess up our friendship if I tell them the truth. But then, if you do tell them the truth, if you don't tell them and they find out you know, then they gonna get mad at. They gonna get the exact same mad at you. But this is what it's gonna start to look like. You can see some of this already. Forgetfulness will also become so rampant that the people of knowledge will be forced into writing things down to preserve it. They not going to be cold off their memory like the Rasulim was. You know? And some of this stuff started happening like immediately. Look at the way books of hadith had to be written down and concealed because of memories. The Quran had to be put in a book because people who memorize it dying off. People can't get it. You know, even like some stuff when you study a whole lot, right? Some things it be in your mind, but you might have to go re-look at it. You might have to go get back in the book and be like, hold on, let me re-look at this. I had to do it all the time. Some of the surahs that I learned years ago, early on, some of them surahs in the back, and then when you get to a point where you don't be reciting them, like some of them I ain't recited in some years. Other than when I'm reading my mushaf to do Tarweeh or Tahajjud, you know what I'm saying? I don't go through them, and then I just jump up and start trying to recite them. I won't remember them. So this forgetfulness and this stuff is going to become rampant amongst the minds of the Muslims, man. So, it reminded me of that hadith to hear her say that. You know what I'm saying? And I know kind of what she was referring to because they had a real strong Ramadan Jum'ah service at her masjid today, so much so where people was all outside. But people ain't speaking to each other and stuff like that. I ain't gonna say that's 100% facts, but at the time when she posted it and knowing where she was, yeah. And her being a regular. But anyway, it just reminded me of that hadith, man. So it's just time to really to buckle down. And this during Ramadan, okay? This was today on Jumu'ah. Possibly at Jumu'ah service. This is something they seeing, but I ain't gonna put too much into it because they didn't add a lot of details to it. But just knowing where they was and at the time when they posted it, But anyway, just that wisdom, man, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam laid out for us, that came from Allah Azza wa Jal. But these are signs and warnings for us to tighten up, for us to chase Jannah, and then for us to not be on the wrong side of these hadiths, but to be prepared for them when the time comes. And I'm going to close on this little bit right here, man, because, I'm always talking to Muslims. And when it comes to tawakkul, what I'm starting to see And I remember a time when I was like this. The Muslims, not all, of course, not all, but some of the conversations with people that I'm having, they starting to use things that they shouldn't do as a bargaining chip with Allah Azza wa Jal. Case in point, let's say you have a person who hustling in the street. Okay, you doing what you got to do. You feel like you're doing what you got to do. But then they're saying, if Allah bless me with this, I'll quit hustling. Right? You have the Muslim brother who may have some bad habits and be like, well, when Allah bless me with a wife, I give those bad habits up. Or you may have a sister who says, well, once I find a husband, I'll start covering a certain way. I'll start studying a certain type of way. But it's always, so these things, it's like, if Allah bless me with this husband, I give these things up that I shouldn't do. Like me not covering correctly, I'll change that when Allah give me a husband. These habits I got, I'll change it when Allah give me a wife. When Allah bless me with this or allow me to make this much money selling drugs, then I'll give it up. But the Deen informed us when it comes to tawakkul, see, Allah don't owe you anything. And when you dig into the Deen, you have to understand this. The Deen teaches us when you give up a thing, when you give up some things, fisi bilillah, for the sake of Allah, then Allah Azza wa Jal will bless it with what's better. Because the unfortunate thing is, these is already things that we shouldn't be doing anyway. But then we have that bargaining chip like, well, when you give me a wife, I'll give it up. When Allah bless the sister with a husband, then I'll give those, I'll cover different. I'll stop hustling when Allah bless me with a certain amount of money. And they don't give it up. Like you only condemning yourself. You're blocking, like how the Kufar said, you're blocking your own blessings. But see, we don't realize it because of that waswas man, or that old mischievous shaitan. And possibly having some Qarins. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, with me speaking on a Qarin, I'm going to pull up that Quran ayat, because a lot of people not really familiar with what a Qarin is. But that's something we need to take into account. Give it up first. Give it up first. And then like how I had to advise some brothers, man. Sometimes the sister know you have those habits. She's not going to say, okay, I'm going to marry you and then you're going to give it up. No, she's going to sit back and wait to see if you're going to give it up first. Because now you're giving it up for a wife. You're not giving it up for Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if you was giving it up for Allah Azza wa Jal, you would have gave it up before you got married. Same thing with the sisters. The brother going to look at you and you not covering, and you don't really, you just got some things going on that's not permissible in the Deen, but your whole pitch is, well, I give it up for a husband. You might have to give it up first. Depending on the husband. You know what I'm saying? But the whole point is, they had these type of things with Allah, and then they'll find themselves going to Allah Azza wa Jal like, wow, what's good? I've been waiting. What am I doing wrong? But then the sad part is, they know exactly what they doing wrong, because their mindset is, I'll quit doing this wrong once you bless me with what I need, what I'm looking for. And they'll just chase it and chase it and chase it until it's over with. So, those are just some things to be mindful, man. Do what the dean say. Give stuff up for the sake of Allah first. Not, Allah, if you do this for me, then I'll give it up. I'll leave the streets when you bless me this way. I'll leave the streets alone and running around dealing with these kuffar women when you bless me with a wife. No, give it up first, Ak. You need to give it up anyway. I give up all this weave and I get this other stuff up as soon as I get married. Alhamdulillah, man. But matter of fact, man, I'll do the Qarins. I'll do it real quick. I'm gonna do it real quick, man. I'll keep while I pull it up so the video don't get too long. So in Surah 43, right? Surah 43, ayah number 36 and ayah number 38. Allah Azza wa Jal gives us a very stern warning. And whosoever turns away blindly from the remembrance of Allah, the most gracious, then Allah will appoint for that individual a shayateen to be a Qarin to that person. And a Qarin is a very close, intimate companion. So let's say, like what we discussing, instead of giving it up fi sabilillah and then Allah bless you, it's like, no, Allah, give it to me, then I'll quit. I'll stop being a sinner. I'll stop disobeying you when you give me a husband, when you give me a wife, when you give me this money. We don't have to be in the streets. You really turning away from the remembrance of Allah, but you don't realize it. You done forgot about Allah to a point where Allah done caused you to forget about yourself, because you definitely done forgot about Allah if you think it's going to work that way. You know what I'm saying? Allah, that might give you, when you feel like that's that blessing, and then it turned into a hardship. You see what I'm saying? You might be like, alhamdulillah, I finally got that wife. And then it's a hardship. And then you don't really give up what it was. Or it's such a hardship and a difficulty. Soon as that marriage ends, soon as, same thing with the sister. She get that husband finally. And then she give the stuff up for a little bit like she said she would. But now the marriage is a hardship. Because you didn't give it up for the sake of Allah. You gave it up so some brother would marry you. But you had to wait till he married you first. You gave it up when that sister married you. You didn't give it up for Allah. And now it's a hardship. And as soon as that marriage ends, you go right back to the exact same stuff that you said you would give up to get a spouse or to leave the streets. And this is a type of behavior that Allah will put a Qarin with you. And having a Qarin with you is dangerous. Because look what it go into ayah number 38 and says, right? That Qarin gonna be with you to a point where you gonna say, till when you come and meet Allah, you gonna say to that Qarin, I wish you were distant from me as the east is from the west. What an evil associate that you are. I wish that Allah would put the distance between me and you the same distance of the east and the west. You're the worst companion I ever had. And sometimes this happened with Muslim friends. Some Muslim sisters, some Muslim brothers. They be together, they be jailed up, they be clicked up. And then by the time they get to the end, they be like, man, I wish I never took you as a friend. You really pulled me off. You really made me fall off. That could be your Qarins, see? And y'all may pray, y'all may be sitting in the masjid and this and that, but the true remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, because what's the first dhikr? What's the main dhikr? What's the main remembrance of Allah? Not the Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Not that dhikr on the tongue. What's the first dhikr? When you get ready to do a wrong, and then you remember Allah at that point, and then you turn around and go the opposite direction. Alhamdulillah. I'm not going to do that. That go against the deen. Allah is not going to be pleased with that. That's the remembrance of Allah. So when you turn a blind eye to that remembrance of Allah, you can end up with a Qarin with you. And Allah tells us this in the Quran. All the way to the point where you're going to be so upset. And like I say, it can be in the form of a physical person that's around you. It could be your spouse. We got to be careful, man. We got to be careful. Wallahi Azim, man. This deen ain't nothing to play with. And knowledge is being lost, man, it's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. But anyway, man, let me get up out of here, man. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.